Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Welcome to this morning Srimad-Bhāgavatam class. So I'm Canto 2. It's called the status quo. Chapter 9. Answers by citing the Lord's version. And this morning we're doing texts 41 and 42. So after the Jayalad Madhava, I will chant the text 41, and then everyone that wants to join in can do 42. Okay, without further ado, we'll start the class. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari, Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari, Gopi Janavallabha Girivadadhari, Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivadadhari, Yashodanandana Vrajajanaranjana, Yashodanandana Vrajajanaranjana, Jamunatira vanachari Jamuna Tira vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Janavallabha Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivardhari Yashodanandana Vrajajala Ranjana Yashodanandana Vrajajala Ranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari 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 Jayam Vishnupad Paramhansa Privajikacharya Asto Terasat Sisimaris Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Jayam Vishnupad Paramhansa Privajikacharya Asto Terasat Sisimaris Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnavinda Ki Jai Namacharya Sri Haridas Thakur Ki Jai ISKCON founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasari Gaur Bhaktavinda Ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shami Kun Radha Kun Giri Govardhana Ki Jai Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai Mathura Dham Ki Jai Navadvip Dham Ki Jai Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai Jagannath Swami Ki Jai Ganga Mai Ki Jai Jamuna Mai Ki Jai Tulsi Devi Ki Jai Bhakti Devi Ki Jai Hare Krishna Mahamantra Ki Jai Samaveda Bhaktavinda Ki Jai Nitai Go Premanande Hari Hari Go All glories to the assembled devotees Hare Krishna All glories to the assembled devotees Hare Krishna All glories to the assembled devotees Hare Krishna all glories to the Lotus feet of Sri Sri Guru and Gauranga Prabhupada Prabhupada. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Krishnaya Bhutale Sri Mata Bhakti Tirtha Swami Nityanamane Namaste Krishna Gadaya Prabhupada Chittapani Sri Gaura Karuna Shakti Bhakti Tirtha Nami. Excuse me. Narayana Namaste Narum Chevam Narottamam Devim Saraswati Vyasam Tato Jayam Gajirayat Nashta Praiswa Bhadresu Nityam Bhagavata Sivaya Bhavati Utamastuke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Hare Krishna, dear devotees, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. So, Canto 2, Chapter 9, texts 41 and 42. And as I said earlier, before chanting the Jai Radha Madhava, that I'm going to chant the first shloka, and then anyone who wants to chant can chant the second one, text 42. So, Canto 2, Chapter 9, text 41. Tam Nārada priyatamo rikthādānām anuvrataḥ śuśrūṣamāṇaḥ śīlena praśrayeṇa damena cha. Word for word translation. Come unto him, Nārada, the great sage Nārada, priyatamo, very dear, rikthādānām, of the inheritor sons, anuvrataḥ, very obedient, śuśrūṣamāṇaḥ, always ready to serve, śīlena, by good behavior, praśrayeṇa, by meekness, damena, by sense control, cha, also. Translation by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Nārada, the most dear of the inheritor sons of Brahmā, always ready to serve his father, strictly follows the instructions of his father by his mannerly behavior, meekness, and sense control. Text 42. Māyāṁ vividiṣan viṣṇor, māyeśasya mahā-muniḥ, mahā-bhāgavato, rājan, pitaraṁ paryatoṣayat. Māyāṁ vividiṣan viṣṇor, māyeśasya mahā-muniḥ, mahā-bhāgavato, rājan, pitaraṁ paryatoṣayat. Māyāṁ vividiṣan viṣṇor, māyeśasya mahā-muniḥ, mahā-bhāgavato, rājan, pitaraṁ paryatoṣayat. Hare Krishna. Please chant.
Dear Krishna, can you go ahead? I'm driving, Prabhu. Thank you.
Sure, Hare Krishna. māyāṁ vividiṣan viṣṇor, māyeśasya mahā-muniḥ, mahā-bhāgavato rājan, pitaraṁ paryatoṣayat. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Anyone else? All right, we'll do word for. Oh, sorry, good. Go ahead.
Māyāṁ vividiṣan viṣṇor, māyeśasya mahā-muniḥ, mahā-bhāgavato rājan, pitaraṁ paryatoṣayat.
Hare Krishna. Anyone else? All right, word for word. Māyāṁ, energies. Vividiṣan, desiring to know. Viṣṇu, of the personality of Godhead. māyāśasya, of the master of all energies. Mahā-muniḥ, the great sage. Mahā-bhāgavato, the first class devotee of the Lord. Rājan, O king. Pitaraṁ, unto his father. paryatoṣayat, being very much pleased. Translation by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada. Nārada very much pleased his father and desired to know all about the energies of Viṣṇu, the master of all energies. For Nārada was the greatest of all sages and greatest of all devotees, O king. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Lord Brahmā, being the creator of all living beings in the universe, is originally the father of several well-known sons like Dasa, the Chatussanas, and Nārada. In three departments of human knowledge disseminated by the Vedas, namely fruitive work, karma kanda, transcendental knowledge, jnana kanda, and devotional service, upasana kanda, Nārada inherited from his father Brahmā devotional service, whereas Dasa inherited from his father fruitive work, and Sanatan, etc., inherited from their father information about jnana kanda or transcendental knowledge. But out of them all, Nārada is described here as the most beloved son of Brahmā because of good behavior, obedience, meekness, and ready to render service unto the Father. And Nārada is famous as the greatest of all sages because of his being the greatest of all devotees. Nārada is the spiritual master of many famous devotees of the Lord. He is the spiritual master of Prahlad, Dhruva, and Vyas, down to the forest animal hunter Kirata. His only business is to turn everyone to the transcendental loving service of the Lord. Therefore, all these features of Nārada make him the dearmost son of his father. And all this is due to Nārada's being a first-class devotee of the Lord. The devotees are always anxious to know more and more about the Supreme Lord, the master of all energies. As confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 10, text 9, Machita Magata Prana Bodhayanta Parasparam Katayantascha Mam Tushanticha Romanticha. The Supreme Lord is unlimited, and his energies are also unlimited. No one can know them completely. Brahmaji, being the greatest living entity within this universe and being directly instructed by the Lord, must know more than anyone within this universe, although such knowledge may not be complete. Thus, it is the duty of everyone to ask about the unlimited Lord from the spiritual master in the disciplic succession of Brahmā, which descends from Nārada to Vyasa and from Vyasa to Shukadeva, and so on. Oma Ginati Mirandasya Gyana Gyana Shalakaya Chakshu Omnitam Gyana Tasma Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Chapitam Gyana Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadatikam Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Tinamini Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharine Nirveshesha Sunyavari Paschathyadi Shatarine Namo Mahabharanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayati Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gurachaye Namaha Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Shiva Sari Gaur Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. So text 41 translation again. Nārada, the most dear of the inheritor sons of Brahmā, always ready to serve his father, strictly follows the instructions of his father by his mannerly behavior, meekness, and sense control. Text 42. Nārada very much pleased his father and desired to know all about the energies of Viṣṇu, the master of all energies. For Nārada was the greatest of all sages and the greatest of all devotees, O king. So Shukadeva Goswami is speaking to Maharaj Pariksit. That's why at the end here he says, O king. So the king refers to Maharaj Pariksit. Again, as in many texts in the Srimad Bhagavatam, this one is talking especially about the character, or at least part of the character, of Nārada Muni. Nārada Muni is the famous pure devotee of the Lord. Nārada Muni is actually categorized as a Shaktivesh avatar of the Lord. When Shaktivesh avatars are described in Srimad Bhagavatam, Nārada Muni is mentioned. Shaktivesh means, Shakti means energy. So one who possesses the energy of the Lord. An avatar is one who descends. Of course, we are in the middle planetary system. The Earth is part of the middle planetary system. And of course, the higher planetary system is above this middle planetary system. And beyond that is the spiritual world. Nārada comes from the spiritual world. Therefore, he descends to the area that we're in. So avatar very much fits his description. So, in the first one, text 41, Nārada is the most dear of the inheritor sons of Brahmā. Brahmā is the first living being and of this material world, that is, in this universe. So it was through him that these other sons came to be. And so they are all charged with certain functions. That's why the word inheritor is there, not like something that you just give, like somebody dies and another person that's a family member inherits something. But inheritor here means responsibility given to the son. And it's mentioned the four Kumaras, Daksha, and then Brahma, and that is mentioned in text 42. And what they all got from Lord Brahma and how they live their lives based on what they got. So Nārada is a very, very wonderful example of being a great devotee of the Lord. We can talk about Nārada for hours. In the Garga Samhita is a whole chapter, book. Garga Samhita is 17 books. One of them is devoted to Nārada only. So, I mean, when we say we could spend hours talking about Nārada, it's actually, it's not an exaggeration. Nārada is one of those devotees that Krishna very much uses in his pastimes. Usually when the pastime is getting ready to occur, Nārada gets some role. Sometimes he goes to talk to demons. But because of the way he handles himself, even demons, some of the time, respect him. The demons can never tell what they'll do from one situation to another. But he went to Kamsa's court. And he was the one that convinced Kamsa to cause the arrival to expedite, cause Krishna to be born as the 8th son of Vasudeva and Devaki. Expedite means that he caused him to be born early. So in the case of Vasudeva and Devaki, his wife, they were told after their wedding, they were going back to Vasudeva's house. A voice told them that the 8th son was going to kill or be the cause of the death of Kamsa. This message was given directly to Kamsa. In fact, he was called a great fool. So, of course, the 8th son means that they were going to go through at least 8 pregnancies. Devaki was going to go through at least 8 pregnancies. And as we well know, we have here when a couple has a child, they don't have a child the quickest time possible. Usually the child would grow a little bit and then they'll have a second child maybe a couple of years later and another child a couple of years later. But because Nārada, by Krishna's instruction, wanted to get the sons of Devaki and Vasudeva born sooner so Krishna can come sooner, Nārada went to Kamsa's court and convinced Kamsa that the 8th son can be counted in a different way. As a matter of fact, you can start counting from one finger of, say maybe the thumb, and go from your left finger 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to the little finger and go 6, 7, 8 of the other one, and count the other way, the opposite way from the other hand, and whichever finger, like the middle finger happened to go, my right hand is the 8th one if I do 5 like that, and then 6, 7, 8 is the middle finger. But if I start counting from the other side, then that same middle finger is going to be finger number 3. If I start from my thumb and go to this one and go to this one, then this particular one in the middle here, now is the 3rd one. So basically, I had confused Kamsa. The Kamsa was listening very closely. And he said, so how you know that particular soul that's coming is going to come as number 8? It could be number 3. In fact, it could be number anything. So then Kamsa decided, well, I'm going to kill. He already had made up his mind that he was going to kill the eighth son. And since now he can't quite figure out which is the eighth one, he wasn't going to count the regular 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, because Nārada has been actually successful in confusing him like that. Then this is part of the reason why Kamsa decided, well, they all got to go then. And they all got to go means that the whole point of getting Krishna to come has been expedited, the time. So Nārada was used that way. Nārada is used in so many situations. But here, his relation to Brahmā, he's the son of Brahmā, one of his Brahma's sons. He's always ready to serve his father. He strictly follows the instructions of his father by mannerly behavior, meekness, and sense control. So that is our first instruction to us. So, of course, it says here he follows the instructions of his father. Now, this is spirituality, so we're going to talk about not material fathers, but spiritual fathers. Spiritual fathers are guru. We must be ready to follow the instructions of our bona fide guru. And in fact, all bona fide gurus in the disciplic succession who are members of this society, the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. We have to follow the instructions of guru. And one of the 10 offenses in chanting the holy name of the Lord, in fact, offense number 3, says that to disobey the orders of the spiritual master is an offense to the holy name. One will not be able to chant with focus and chant to get the chanting of the mantra sweetened and the Lord's name become wonderful to the ears of a devotee if that devotee does not obey the orders of the spiritual master. In fact, we'll take it a step further. We have to not only obey the orders of the spiritual master, but even accept the opinions of the spiritual master. It's very, if you really want to commit to the spiritual master, then even an opinion, which means it can be an issue can be one way or looked at one way or looked at another way. But what the spiritual master says we have to do, that's the one we should take. So if it's an opinion where sometimes we can also kind of figure out another way to look at it, but if we've heard from the spiritual master that this is the way he is suggesting that you look at it the first time, and I use the word suggest. In other words, this is not an imposition, it's not an order, just only a suggestion. If you really, really connecting with the spiritual master, you should take that suggestion. Why? Because sometimes there's a test behind that. And devotees need to understand that. Because we have our free will, sometimes information is given to us in a suggestion form, just to see whether the devotee will, in fact, obey the instructions, or whether the devotee's false ego is so big that when they hear something in an opinion form, a suggestion, they're going to say, well, I can figure it out to have my own suggestion, therefore I will do it in a different way. You're lost then. You heard me, you're lost then. You've been tested and you failed the test. So you have to be very careful. Even suggestions are to be taken as orders. If you really want to be on the right side of Guru, that is, right side means favored by Guru. And when you're favored by Guru, you're favored by Krishna automatically, because Guru is a representative of Krishna. So even when it comes to just Guru saying, yeah, it's just a suggestion, take it as an order. Take it as an order. This is backed up in Bhagavad Gita. Twice in Bhagavad Gita, the word, this is my, or the sentence, this is my opinion, has come up. One of them, Krishna said that's my opinion. And the other one is the very last text in Bhagavad Gita. Again, the word opinion comes up. So we have to be very, very smart to notice that humility literally dictates that we take everything our spiritual master says and do it, whether it's an order or whether it's a suggestion. The only time that we do things based on our own plan is when the spiritual master says, this is the result that I'd like you to achieve. Now you go about it the way you want. Then he gives us that freedom to choose the direction in which we're going to go with it, or the procedure, or the plan. When the Guru says that way, then of course, that's on us to do. Srila Prabhupada was told by Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Maharaj, spread Krishna consciousness in the West. Did he give details? No. He gave a particular order. And Srila Prabhupada obeyed the spiritual master. But the details was on him. At first, he thought he was going to make money in India and use that money to start the project, start obeying his spiritual master, trying to come to the West. But he lost his business. When he lost his business, he found himself alone. Actually, without the material responsibilities, family responsibilities, he found he had more time. But he still tried to get the society to start, or he started the society in India, the League of Devotees. But then he learned later on, see, the words of his spiritual master are spread Krishna consciousness in the West. So it became clear to him, he can start in India, but he has to go to the West anyway. So when things were not doing so well in India, he went to Srimati Moraji Mataji, who was running a business of shipping. So maritime boats, and he requested that she help him to get to America. So it became clear to him he had to go to America. If he's going to spread in the West, he has to go to the West. The instructions of the spiritual master. But this time, the details were left up to Srila Prabhupada. Now, when it comes to details being left up to the disciple to do, a disciple that is humble, just like Nārada, that disciple will be guided by the spiritual master within, the super soul. So much will be fed to the intelligence, and then things will also be put externally in such a way that the aim is being carried out nicely. The instruction is being carried out. Whenever there's a situation that happens and it seems to be a reversal, it is actually because there's a certain plan that Krishna is putting in place, and it sounds like a reversal because the devotee has not really seen the big picture yet. It's still unfolding. Some of you may have known that since October, I was down a little bit, physically. But as late as yesterday, it became clear why some of those things happened to me. As a matter of fact, there was a blessing behind it, but we only got to know about it. Me, understand myself, only got to put two and two together only yesterday. So we just simply have to follow the instructions of Guru, and Krishna does the rest. We are just instruments. Devotees have to understand that. It just means that the person with the false ego thinks that he's the one doing things, but actually it's being done by the three modes of material nature. We are just used. Srila Prabhupada simply described this in his poem when he came to America. He called himself a puppet and asked Krishna to be the puppeteer, and he said, make me dance. Make me dance, oh Lord, make me dance as you like. This is the way in which a person should relate to the spiritual master. He should be a puppet and have the spiritual master be the puppeteer. And the spiritual master who is bona fide will definitely dance you back to Godhead. It's that simple. But sometimes we try to use our intelligence and get the way and say, we're going to do it this way, we're going to do it this way. And usually when you do like that, the spiritual master will leave you and then you go find out yourself. I'll tell you a story, how things unfold. Srila Prabhupada was with his disciples. It was a morning program. Srila Prabhupada was giving a class. And after the class, he instructed the devotees, his disciples, on specific ways to distribute books when they go out. Many of them were distributing books at that time. Srila Prabhupada, one of them too. And there were two disciples who were quite knowledgeable in business, who were also in the temple room listening. And when Srila Prabhupada described the specifics as to how they should go about distributing the books, these two devotees raised their hands. And Srila Prabhupada allowed them to speak. And they respectfully said that Srila Prabhupada's strategy that he was teaching wasn't going to work so well. And then they went ahead and described the way in which, from a business standpoint, that the devotees would be successful in distributing books. Srila Prabhupada listened. When they finished, Srila Prabhupada repeated what he had said earlier to the devotees. Go about book distribution this way. The two devotees raised their hands again and respectfully, but still, they objected. They spoke respectfully to Srila Prabhupada. That's to their credit. But they were very convinced that their way of going about book distribution would be better. So then Srila Prabhupada, after the second time they spoke, he said, all right, no, you too can do it the way you're saying you want to do it. So it was over. The devotees left the temple, grabbed the books, went into town, started distributing. At the end of the day, it came to the notice of the devotees that those two did absolutely poorly in distributing books. The rest of the devotees that went about distributing based on Srila Prabhupada's instructions were successful. And those two devotees felt so embarrassed that with their plans, they got nowhere with book distribution, that actually they couldn't bring themselves to return to the temple, and they left. As they say in ISKCON, they blooped. You have to obey the spiritual master. And we'll say one more thing about it. When the spiritual master gives specific instructions as to how to go about doing something, and even if you know another plan, don't do it. Go by the spiritual master's plan. Even if the spiritual master's plan does not turn out as far as the results are, they don't turn out the way you expected them to. Don't worry about it. Why? Because Krishna says, do your work. He was telling Arjuna, do not be attached to the results. Sometimes we look at it as, oh, but the results turned out this other way. I wish I had taken it the way I thought about it. The results may have been successful. You're lost again. This is not being a kami, this is being a devotee. And the devotee and the spiritual master relationship is very important. Sometimes they are directing, sometimes that's one hand. And another time they are tests to see how obedient you're going to be. This is why Nārada, the most dear inheritor son, is always ready to serve his father. He follows the instructions of his father, Brahmā. And he controls his senses. So these are things that we have to understand about devotee life. Devotee life is not kami life. We can figure out what you want in kami life. But you have to be humble and submissive to the spiritual master. When you meet spiritual master, you ask humbly the questions that you have. And then you also serve him. Because serving him means you're ready to serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Why? Because Guru is a representative of Krishna. Guru is not an ordinary living being. When you're looking at Guru, you're looking at Krishna's representative. So you have to be in your head like, this is Krishna. Are you going to fight Krishna when he says do something a certain way? If your answer is no, then don't fight Guru. It's to our advantage. So in this purport, especially for test number 42, Srila Prabhupada is saying, Lord Brahma, he is the creator of all living beings in the universe. And a little bit of background, few sentences. Lord Brahma is the father of well-known sons like Daksha. There's a whole pastime on Daksha. The Chatusanas, Chatu means four, so we talk about the four Kumaras, and Nārada. And then Srila Prabhupada enunciated three departments of knowledge. Fruitive work, then knowledge, this Gyan, then devotion service. Karma Kanda, Gyan Kanda, and Upasana Kanda. Deva and Sri Nārada inherited from Lord Brahma devotion service. Lord Brahma taught Nārada about devotion service. And again, as I said, Kaka Samhita has a whole book on Nārada, so I've kind of feel tempted, but we won't go there. Some pastimes between him and Lord Brahma, interesting ones. Lord Brahma had to pull Narada's ear a couple of times before he became the nice devotee that he became. But that's the story for another time. So, but Brahma was very much obeyed by Nārada later, as when he understood what the position was, that he should be as a son. Became very, 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 very obedient to his father. Daksha inherited fruity work, especially Daksha was called a Prajapati. Lord Brahma told him to have more and more and more sons and daughters, which Daksha did. And Sanatan, Sananda, and Sanat Kumara, the four Kumaras, they didn't want to be householders. So they, by their own powers, which is given to them, of course, being heavenly planets, they could do several things that we can't do. They remained like 5-year-olds, and they were into Gyan, knowledge. But it's knowledge based on impersonal Brahma. Later on, their minds were changed when they went to the spiritual world, and that's in the 3rd canto. And then they got stopped by gatekeepers, Jai and Vijay. They cursed Jai and Vijay because Jai and Vijay should not have stopped them. The 7th gate was where this happened. So they had already been through, the Kumaras had been through 6 gates, and they had been let through by the gatekeepers. And this particular set of good, these two, Jai and Vijay, stopped them. So then the 4 Kumaras cursed. They cursed Jai and Vijay. But at that time, Lord Narayan came to the gate and took responsibility for the actions of Jai and Vijay because they were his devotees. But when the 4 Kumaras saw Lord Narayan, the whole idea of impersonalism went out the door. Now they connected with him on a personal, with the Lord on a personal level. So they were still, first they were into Gyan, impersonalism, just plain knowledge, but no personal connection. So that got changed that time, in that past time. So Nārada is the beloved son because of good behavior, obedience, meekness, and readiness to serve the spiritual master. So we are looking at, of course, we need to serve our own parents also. But the parents that try to stop us from becoming devotees, that His Holiness Chandamali Swami already said we have a right to be literally angry at them. Because life here is not a joke. When a person is in a human body, they got an opportunity to go back to Godhead. And that should not be stopped or sabotaged by any other person. Be that person, whether that person is a parent or not. Sometimes it just takes having to make a decision in favor of bhakti, and then that particular soul who was a parent learns later on that it was better. Radhanath Swami has so many stories about it, where there are devotees who became brahmacharis, and first the parents fought them like anything. And now these same parents feel very proud of their sons, that they are the best sons because they're brahmacharis. Quite a few stories that Radhanath Swami talked about, his disciples who were brahmacharis. So it's the duty of everyone to ask about the Supreme Personality of Godhead, because Brahmā was questioned by Nārada about the Lord. There is no better personality to learn about in this whole world, in existence, than the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Because Krishna is the all-attractive. He's the most attractive. He's the best in all departments of life. So why wouldn't anyone want to know more about him? So Nārada questioned Brahmā in a detailed way, but in a very respectful way also. So Nārada got information about creation, about the energies of the Lord, so many things. And then he related it to Vyasa. Brahmā actually taught Nārada the mahā-bhāgavato, which was given to him, that knowledge was given to him by Krishna. And then he taught Vyasadeva, and Vyasadeva taught his son Shukadeva Goswami, and Shukadeva Goswami instructed Maharaj Pariksit the last 7 days of his life on the earth, and now we get to here. So the pure devotees know that Krishna is the source of material and spiritual. That's in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 10, text 8. Aham Savasya Bhagava. And in 9, the very next verse, Machita Magata Prana Bodhayanta Parasparam Katayanta Chamani Tishanti Ramanticha. The thoughts of my pure devotees. See, the devotees know that the Krishna is a source of existence. Therefore, all they do is think about the Lord. They discuss pastimes of the Lord. They discuss qualities of the Lord. And they derive great satisfaction, because talking about Krishna is the most blissful chats. Anything outside of that is just prajalpa, gossip. They enlighten each other. What they learn, they tell each other. And they converse practically all day about the Supreme Personality of Godhead. They serve the deity. They chant the holy name of the Lord. And they converse about Krishna. Apart from our regular material work, when we do that, these three things, serve the deity, chant the holy name of the Lord, Hare Krishna mantra, and hear about the Supreme Personality of Godhead, our lives will be so much better than the way it is now. It's not so difficult. Now, there's a few more things from Nectar of Devotion that I'd like to add before we open up for questions. Sorry, my voice is a little hoarse. In order to connect with the Supreme Personality of Godhead and get to know him, because he reveals himself in that way, we have to be involved in devotional service. So Nectar of Devotion, chapter 6, summarizes a few points on how to discharge devotional service. There are quite a few things to do, but Nectar of Devotion, Srila Rupa Goswami has categorized them into the 10 basic ones, and then he goes into detail later on with other points. The first point, accept the shelter of a lotus feet of a bona fide spiritual master. So when you come into ISKCON, ISKCON's aim is not just to make you a better person in this world. ISKCON's aim, the International Society of Spiritual Consciousness, seeks to send people out of the material world back to the spiritual world, where all problems will be gone and the life will be a blissful one in service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So accept the shelter of bona fide spiritual master. That's the representative of Krishna. So when we come to Krishna consciousness, it doesn't happen overnight that we get shelter of a lotus feet of a bona fide spiritual master. But over time of associating with devotees and hearing about this and beginning to live based on what you hear from the devotees, then it gets to a point where the Lord makes it possible for you to get excited about one particular spiritual master. Then you take shelter of lotus feet of that particular spiritual master. Number two, when you take that shelter, then there is a formal initiation by that spiritual master. So the spiritual master becomes a Diksha Guru, and he also teaches how to discharge devotional service. We serve him, and we also serve the devotees, and we serve the deities. The spiritual master will tell you, take service to the devotees very seriously. Very, very, very seriously. As soon as we look at respecting the Guru and serving the devotees, serving the deities, respecting the Guru, serving the deities, but we don't take devotees seriously, we are third-class disciples. We are third-class devotees. We will not grow. Devotees, here's why. Devotees are the ones that you're going to relate to as practice for relating to the pure devotees who are in the spiritual world. So if we do not relate to devotees properly, we are saying that we're not going to relate to the living entities, all of those in the spiritual world. This is how it's taken. So our relationship with the spiritual master is taken as practice towards a relationship to Krishna. And the relationship with the devotees is practice towards a relationship of us with the residents of the spiritual world. So if you ignore them, no devotees, then you're saying you're going to ignore the good relationship between you and the devotees in the spiritual world. Now, forget about going there, because they wouldn't even allow you back if we think that way. The third point, obeying the orders of the spiritual master with faith and devotion. We already talked about, so we won't belabor that now. Number 4, you follow in the footsteps of the great acharyas under the direction of the spiritual master. Spiritual master is a guide. You follow in the footsteps of the great acharyas, what they did. We can't do everything that the great acharyas do, but there's some things that the spiritual master say that it is good to do. The great acharyas did it. You should do it too. That's why it says under the direction of the spiritual master. Number 5, inquire from the spiritual master how to advance in Krishna consciousness. And speaking about that, I have a favorite question that I ask every sannyasi, every guru that I meet. After I offer my obeisances, and again, you could do what you want, and I throw this out there. It's a very general question that I ask. After offering obeisances, I said, then I'll say, Maharaj, can you give me some pointers on how to be a better devotee? It's a very general question. When you throw that, you'd be surprised at how many gurus that Krishna would give them wonderful things that would actually help to elevate our understanding of Krishna consciousness and how to apply it. So I ask that question practically every time I meet, says, can you give me some points on how to be a better devotee? And usually I get a smile. First thing is smile, because it's a general question. But it also basically opens up for them to tell me anything that they want in bhakti. Number 6, we should be prepared to give up anything material for the satisfaction of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna. What does that mean? We should be prepared to give up anything material. Remember the 9 processes of serving, loving devotional service. The last one says Atmanivedana. Atmanivedana, that's what's been talked about here. Be prepared to give up anything material. In other words, if you really want to learn how to love the Supreme Personality of Godhead, give something that you would have liked to be attached to, that's material, and give it to Krishna. Give that to Krishna. Sri Radhanath Swami actually suggests this. Contribute to the temple periodically. Some people contribute monthly. Some people contribute weekly. But when it comes to money, and many of us are attached to money, at least many of us know the money is necessary to live this material life with. But they give, and we should all do that. It doesn't matter how wealthy or how poor we are. Give some Lakshmi to the temple because the temple's bills are to be paid for the temple to be open so we can go in times that they have programs. Now, Radhanath Swami's advice is, how it's connected to this is, give what you feel comfortable giving. And then give more. Go past it. Now, when you give what you're comfortable giving, in order to go past that, that connects with this point here. Something that you really are attached to, because once you give some money, you say, all right, this is what I'm giving, and I'm stopping there. Radhanath Swami challenges us and says, if we want to just love Krishna more, then just imagine a person that you care about. Do you mind giving something that is yours to that person? If you know that they need it, you give it and you don't think twice about it. Even though it's something that you like, you hand it to him. I remember my god sister, Parijata. For my birthday, she gave me a picture of my spiritual master dancing. Bhakti Maharaj, we have the same guru. Who's my god sister, the wife of the president, Agirinagar. I remember she gave me this picture. She was very attached to the picture because this is a picture that somebody took when my Guru Maharaj, Bhakti Maharaj, was dancing, and he was jumping and dancing. And when he was up in the air with both feet off the ground, that guy snapped that picture. Not many people have it. Parajata had that picture. Only one. And he says, I'm really attached to this picture, but I'm going to let you have it. Happy birthday. She gave it to me. Then I decided, all right, well, it's not so hard. All you have to do is just put it on the computer and have some nice color, printer and just make a copy and give it back to her. But she gave it. She told me, I'm really attached to this picture, but you can have it. We should be prepared to give up anything material for the satisfaction of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. We can do that to devotees also. Because when we serve devotees, and Krishna is very happy with us. Number 7, reside in a sacred place of pilgrimage, like Dwarka or Vrindavan. Many of us can't reside in those places now. Dwarka and Vrindavan. So we'll read it again. Reside in a sacred place. Where do we reside right now? Our homes. So make your home a sacred place then. Spiritualize the place by having lectures, by having kirtans, bhajans, by having programs, by having deities. Spiritualize the home. But then, of course, every now and then you can take a trip to the place of pilgrimage. And you go learn from those who are there. Janeshu Abhigeshu Saiva Gokara. Just don't go bathe in the water only, the sacred water only, but find out. Get lectured to by those who live there. That's very important. This is Bhagavatam, Canto 10, chapter 84, text 13. Yashatma Buddhi Kunape Tidatuke. Towards the end, it says you have to. Those places when you go, you got to get information from, spiritual information from those who are there. Observe fasting. On Ekadashi. Now, 2 more. You accept only what is necessary, or deal with the material world only as far as necessary. So even at work, relate to your co-workers, most of whom are non-devotees, some people, all of them are non-devotees, just things related to the work. But be nice all the time, because your mood actually matters. In effect, your mood would say good things about you, and therefore good things about what you're connected with, which means the society. If you talk about ISKCON, you talk about Krishna consciousness, they're more likely to listen to you if you're a nice person. If you're a grumpy person, they wouldn't want to hear anything from you. So even our behavior speaks quite loud. So the final thing is we worship sacred trees, and our sacred tree that we worship is Tosimārani. So these are the 10 preliminary necessity items of necessity for beginning to discharge devotional service. So there's so much that we can learn, and I've listed this for my own purification also. And by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, these are all purports from him. So thank you. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So we'll stop here. It's almost the top of the hour, but the devotees can ask questions or make comments and so on as you like. Hare Krishna. Are there any questions or comments?
Hare Krishna, please accept my humble obeisance as always a Prabhupada. I wanted to thank you for connecting this whole pastime of Narada Muni, how he was such a dedicated disciple, actually. Yeah, he really listened to his father, who was Lord Brahmā. But at the same time, he was also very, very dear to Lord Krishna, very, very dear to the Lord. Followed instructions down to the T. And in fact, I was just thinking that, when he was a little boy, he served the sannyasis for 4 months, just taking their remnants. Didn't say anything, just serve. Didn't say anything, just serve. He was exemplifying that Shravanam, Kirtanam, Viṣṇu Sparanam very nicely. 4 months he just served and listened and served and listened, and and he became so elevated. But also, it was nice that you spoke about Srila Prabhupada. He just got one instruction, right, and he just followed it through. It's so amazing. Like his guru told him is, when you have money, print books, go to the West and preach. That is it. That is a very, very, broad instruction. But Srila Prabhupada never gave up. He kept on. He tried to start the League of Devotees in India. That didn't work. He tried book distribution. That didn't work. He tried so many things in India. That didn't work. But Prabhupada never gave up until the age of 70. He was determined to follow his guru's instructions. When he get money, print books, go to the West and preach. And like you said, he did know how to preach. How to preach in the U.S. But look what he did. Travel 14 times.
Yeah, he wasn't even sure that people would understand his accent. Yeah, but still.
Yes, you're right. And built 108 temples. Amazing at the beginning of 70. Like Srila Prabhupada, even if we cannot, what's the word, understand or comprehend, great souls, great devotees like Narada Muni and, and so on and so forth. But at least we have so many, pastimes of Srila Prabhupada and Srila Prabhupada disciples who are exemplary first-class disciples. That we should hear their glories and actually aspire to be first class.
Yes.
Of course, no one joins first class. We all join bottom of the food chain, as I call it. But we should work and aim to get to the first class, not just be comfortable. And then, I think that's one lecture where Chandramali Swami said we should never feel that where we have reached, and we should be comfortable. He said that. Yeah, he said that when we come to a certain point, we should never feel that we are comfortable at that point. We should keep moving forward.
That's the way it is in devotional life anyway.
Yeah, I just wanted to share that. Thank you so much. This was a very nice class. Thank you.
So many points that you brought up. This last one about not feeling comfortable about the level that you're at in the bhakti is very, very important. Bhakti Maharaj, my Guru Maharaj mentioned that also. And he mentioned that Krishna consciousness is dynamic. It's not static. It's dynamic. So you cannot get to a certain level and stay there, because then you become static, and that is not bhakti. You always should be growing. So if you feel that you are at a particular level and you, all right, I'm comfortable with this level, that's a trick from Maya, because you're going to begin to go down. That's what's going to happen. You're going to begin, anyone who feels comfortable at the level that they are at, their devotion is going to begin to go down. You always have to be striving to go up. If we are, it's not too difficult to think. If you are in a current, in the water, that is, and this is the way it is in this world. It's a world of Maya, a world of illusion. All around us, things the other way from the way we live our lives. Now, if you're in this particular current and you say, I'm okay where I'm at, and you stop, what's going to happen? Wouldn't the current push you down? It would immediately pull you down towards the lower. So you have to be striving to go forward. You have to be striving to go forward. And the more we strive, the better our devotee life becomes. And the better our devotee life becomes, the happier we become also, without a doubt. And then you can begin to see things in our lives individually that Krishna would make available for us as a sign of letting us know that he's got our back. But the effort has to be put in ourselves. Then the effort would attract the mercy. So that's how it works. We all should be encouraging each other to grow. We are all in the same boat. We should be encouraging each other. But one point that I'd like also to bring up for anybody more comment or questions they can ask. Never look at spiritual life as an extracurricular thing that I do. Death is not extracurricular. It's sure. It's going to come. And when we leave these bodies, the next body is going to be determined not as an extracurricular activity. It's real life. It's serious. Therefore, spiritual life has to be taken seriously. We get sometimes too enamored by the things that we have to do materially, forgetting that just thinking that way is already a situation that we put ourselves in. That situation is called illusion. Things are temporary here. Yehi samspasaja bhoga dukkha yunaya. It's there. Bhagavad Gita chapter 5, text 22. The intelligent person sees the material world for what it is. It's temporary. It has a beginning, it has an end. So the intelligent person does not delight in them. We want permanent happiness. So don't take spiritual life to be something that is extracurricular. When I have time after I finish my job, I used to go socialize, and then now I just turn to spiritual and do something for spirituality. That is a wrong conception. We'll never grow. We'll never experience the love of Krishna if we do that. Instead of doing that, we should be seriously committed. Our material life should be such that we are doing what we need to do to get the material responsibility out of the way so that we can concentrate on the spiritual. That should be the attitude of a devotee who is serious about connecting and developing love for Krishna. Spirituality becomes the priority, even if the material things that we do takes more time because of our job, so on, the 8 hours is gone. Even while we're working, we can spiritualize the work. We can hear some bhajans, we have pictures in the office around us, remind us of Krishna, like that. But whenever we have time, associate with devotees. Don't associate with non-devotees. That is the definition from Lord Chaitanya. Who is a devotee? A devotee is the one who does not associate with non-devotees. That means socially, they don't associate with non-devotees. They just do what they need to do for material life, and then they spend time on spiritual. So you got to, that way, this is how we're going to be really happy. And if you don't try that, you don't know that there's this wonderful happiness that's there. You connect with it. We have to connect with it. But we have to put in the effort to live life and have the proper understanding about Krishna consciousness. Then we'll be happy, even while we're here. Then the happiness will increase several times when you go back to the spiritual world. Hare Krishna. Any other points, questions, comments? If not, then thank you very much for coming in. This is the weekend. Hopefully everybody, wherever you are, go to a temple that's near you or the temple that you normally go to. We talked about please contribute to the temple because it's like that. We don't want the temple to close. We'll be disappointed if we did, but we have to keep it going. Service and also contribution in the temple. Vanchakalpatarubhesya kripa sindhve evacha pitaraṁ pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Śrīla Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you again. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.